Hope you're doing well today. It is May 22nd. Our reading today comes from First Kings. Yesterday we looked at First Kings chapters 5 and 6, I believe, where Solomon was building the temple. And as it gets towards the end of chapter 6, it starts talking about how long these things took, as it says, in the 11th year in the month of Bul, which is the 8th month. The house was finished, all its details according to its plans, so he was 7 years in building it. But then when we go to chapter 7, it says, but Solomon took 13 years to build his own house, and so he finished all his house. I think it's pretty easy to make a big deal of that, and perhaps we should make a big deal, but today in just the few minutes we have, I thought we might think about that just briefly. One is to read the chapter. The Lord does not condemn him for this. And I think that's important to see. Because yes, it did take him longer to build his own house than the temple, but there's no hint that the Lord condemns him for that. This was going to be, it was the palace. And not just one building, it was going to be quite a few buildings. I wonder if what it is, as we think about it, we know the plans for the temple were given, as we spoke about yesterday. Things had to be done accurately, things had to be done to spec. Well, God did not give any sort of template for the king's house. And so that's going to be left up to Solomon. And what Solomon is an example of, and he says it himself, whatever his heart desired, he went after. Okay, so now what's your heart desire? And I think what it becomes is it becomes a lesson for us, because if he, as he indulged, what it shows is that way doesn't work. If he would have restrained himself, well, then it would be easy to say, well, maybe indulgence is the way to go. But by indulging himself, whatever his heart desired, and by doing this, and we know what the Lord said about it, Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Talking about I believe that's the flowers of the field. By indulging in Solomon in all his glory, by indulging in that, and the Lord had told him that he would bless him with riches, by the way. And so he doesn't condemn him for this, but it's whatever his heart desired. And it's a test. I think it's a test for Solomon. I think it's the test we all have to face. We all have to answer for ourselves. What will we do? How will we build our house? How will we build our lives? Will we practice godliness with contentment? It's not wrong to be rich, but will we be rich in good works? Or will we, how will we deal with these issues? How will we deal with prosperity if we're in that situation? So, whatever Solomon's heart desired, that's what he did. And he wanted to build this house, and that's what he did. I think we can also see, though, let's look back in our passage, because this is one of the early accounts. And let's see, as it starts talking about some of the details, it seems like, look down in verse 8. And the house where he dwelt had another court inside the hall of like workmanship. Solomon also made a house like this hall for Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had taken as wife. So he's already started marrying foreign women. And so then we start thinking about, he's not just building for himself, he's building for his wives as well. And we know how that's going to turn out. So we might think about that. Whatever his heart desired, it's a test. And we know how Solomon is going to answer that test from other passages. But within the chapter itself, to just look at the house simply, the Lord does not condemn him for this. But it is interesting that it took a whole lot longer to build his own house than it did the Lord's house. Hope this brief look into this passage has been helpful for you. Appreciate you studying along with me. Hope you tune in for our next look into God's Word.